Hi, Thomas. So, we are analytics managers for Pfizer and are trying to understand the dynamics of vaccine distribution for all vaccine manufacturers. Our company is trying to understand some basic features regarding how effective the vaccine is when it comes to preventing deaths and new confirmed cases. Our company also wants to know how distribution of the vaccine improves or does not improve over time, and if there are any countries that are expected to have higher demand in the near future.
Okay, thank you, Joshua. We had provided a data sets about deaths, recoveries, mm, confirmed cases, and doses. This dataset was provided with the dates as columns. So we unpivot those columns, then we make a giant dataset grouping by country and having the aggregation of this information. Then we make basically what is called in SQL a lag to subtract the day before to find the new or the difference between both information. So when we do that, we make the scatter plot between the vaccine doses and the confirmed cases and the deaths. As we can see here, we have the center of all the scatter plot right here with with low confirmed cases and between low and mid vaccine doses. We see four clear outliers. The first one being the PC1 China, with a very high average of vaccine doses and pretty low confirmed cases. We also can see here our PC2, the US, with a lot of confirmed cases and a mid-low level of vaccine doses. And we can see our PC3 right here in the middle between Brazil and India, being in the middle of confirmed cases and vaccine doses. And in the deaths scatter plot, we can see basically the same outliers. Now we're gonna proceed to the story to see the pre-vaccines data.
All right. So first, I want to look into a heat map of all the countries in the world and the amount of confirmed cases they have. I would like to highlight the United States, India, Brazil, and also I want to highlight China. But the United States, India, and Brazil had the most amount of cases, and China I wanted to highlight because they kicked everything off, as you can see by our time series analysis of cases before everybody else did. And then if you look into the top three countries, you can see that they follow a relatively similar trend of cases fluctuating up and down throughout the year until November, when you see a huge spike in cases for the U.S. Going into our recovered data set analysis, you can see China had relatively little to no recovers across time, and the U.S., Brazil, and India followed a very similar trend. And again, until November, when Brazil had a huge spike in confirmed cases, a big drop off, and they followed the same trend. Going over to deaths, you see China had a lot of deaths when this first started, which makes sense being that they had a lot more cases when it first started. And you see a huge spike in the number of deaths right around the same time when the number of cases started rising. And then it goes down and starts following a similar trend. Now, I'm going to hand it over to Gabriel to see if our vaccine did make a difference.
So before analyzing how the vaccine impacted the whole COVID situation around the world, we would like to clarify that this vaccine was not designed to grant immunity to a human being. Actually, it was designed to help the human being deal with the disease in a better way and not succumb to it. So as the vaccination process progressed, we can see that the restrictions, the COVID-related restrictions, got lifted. And countries like the U.S., like Brazil, like India, even though people were vaccinated, their cases spiked. We moved to the deaths since more cases appeared, and a lot of people decided not to get vaccines. So we can see that the deaths also increased. Just like the cases, the deaths increase, the recoveries as well, since people are vaccinated and are very advanced with the process. We can see that they are recovering in a better way, and we can see that the countries which spiked, previously mentioned, the US, Brazil, and India, they had an increase in recoveries, with India really standing out in the recovery section. Now, for the future, we can predict that countries with a higher amount of cases will need to have a higher availability for the vaccine.
Yep. As we can see right from the first scatter plot, our four outliers are the ones that at the end are showing in this trend line or in this time series the highest non-stationarity. As we can see on the deaths, US, Brazil, India, and China being the top outliers, not only in post-vaccine, pre-vaccine, and of course, as we've seen here in our scatter plot.
For the purpose of drawing comparison with reality, I would like to state our analysis for the provided datasets that aligns closely with real-world trends in COVID-19 vaccine distribution and impacts. First, our scatter plots and heat maps highlighted outliers like China with high vaccination rates and low confirmed cases, reflecting its proactive vaccination strategy. The United States, Brazil, and India showed high case numbers, which aligns with global statistics from organizations like the WHO and our World in Data. We found that vaccines significantly reduced severe outcomes and improved recovery rates, as seen in India's notable progress past November. This supports existing research confirming vaccine roles in disease management, although they offer limited immunity against newer variants like Omicron. Additionally, our time series analysis revealed fluctuating case trends, including November surges in the United States and Brazil, and consistent with documented pandemic phases. Lastly, our recommendations to prioritize vaccine access, address hesitancy, and learn from proactive countries like China align with strategies advocated by global health experts. Overall, our findings are strongly supported by credible external data, confirming their validity.